Kia ora! We are here one day before I leave. I'm leaving tomorrow. And we've still got lots of blog entries to publish, but before I leave, we wanted to go through and do some of our favorites and least favorites here in New Zealand. Dagmar's checking the camera. We have a very high, sophisticated blankets, laptop, camera, tripod, so...
Yeah. So I guess talking a little bit about our trip, we spent a couple months in the north in Auckland doing a couple help exes. Then we went to Stewart Island, did a 3-long-day trek there, went to Christchurch. I guess Stefan went to do some interviews in the US. I went to Dunedin, spent 2 weeks by myself traveling. He went, we caught back up in Christchurch, went down back to Dunedin, did a help ex, got stuck in lockdown. Then we traveled the South Island, going from like Tanau, Queenstown,
Mount Cook area.
Yep.
Then the West Coast through like Franz Josef, up Abel Tasman Track.
Yep.
Nelson, Picton, crossed the ferry to the North Island, Wellington,
Yep.
New Plymouth, Taupo. Wanted to go to the Mahia Peninsula, but weren't able to because of the Tongariro crossing, but we ended up getting that done.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went north to Tauranga, Coromandel, Auckland, Northland, back to Auckland, where we are now.
And that's where we are right now.
And if you knew where all those places were, then you probably don't need to be watching this vlog. You probably know where things are in New Zealand.
Yeah, so this may be good for anybody wanting to travel to New Zealand, or maybe just fun to watch, because we're funny people, right? I don't know.
It's funny sometimes.
Funny looking.
So we're going to go through and we're going to talk about some of our favorite and least favorite things that we've done here in New Zealand over our time here. And some of these are things that we might have mentioned in the blog already, and some of them are things that are no peeking.
Sorry.
That are going to come up. So the first one, we're going to do our favorite Airbnb. Do you want to go first?
Okay, so I had 3 favorite Airbnbs, and I kind of wish I could just put my favorite things together for them. So the one in Twizel was really nice because it was a
near
studio.
Mount Cook, yeah.
But it needed more space, so I could put that one with the one in Northland because the bed was really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 studios. We determined we really like studios on this trip. We determined that for an apartment for ourselves, a studio would be perfect.
Yeah.
You said you had 3? Those.
And then the one in Taupo.
Okay, yeah, that was probably my favorite one, and that one, I think the standout of it was, it had like a 15-foot long couch and tons of surface area on the floor. A lot of the places we've been staying are kind of like a little bit hotel room, don't have a lot of open area, and we've been doing Shanti's Insanity workouts kind of around bedsides and that sort of thing, so having a lot of square footage on the floor is nice for us. It also had a really nice shower, and I think the most importantly, one thing that I liked about it is we kind of had an accelerated itinerary through the North Island, and when we were in Taupo, we kind of just took a couple days to just chill out and enjoy the Airbnb we were in. So I think that was maybe the best thing about it, more so than any furnishings. How about least favorites?
My least favorite one is definitely the caravan that we had in Greymouth. That one was really tiny, and I'm a small person, and I still thought it was really tiny. I especially disliked the bathroom because the shower was right on top of the toilet, and I accidentally knocked the toilet paper into the toilet.
Completely into the toilet. The whole roll of toilet paper just clunk.
Yes, and it also stank really badly, so I had that stench all throughout that stay. So definitely my least favorite.
Yeah, I think I had that as my least favorite as well. There was also one we stayed in well, yeah, we stayed in a couple. I think just maybe rather than naming particular ones, I think things that I didn't like about the Airbnbs we stayed in, because we've stayed in more Airbnbs in the last 7 months than we probably have in our whole life.
Yeah.
Is like bad check-in experiences. I feel like is the big thing. Like there were so many people who didn't message us, and then there's no like service anywhere in New Zealand, so we would get to the place and couldn't figure out how to get in, be knocking on the wrong people's doors, and there wouldn't be like clear directions to get in. I think that was it. And then also, some of the places that were, I think I liked having our own place to ourselves rather than a private room. There were some private rooms we had where we really had a good time interacting with the people but other ones we felt a little bit trapped inside of our room as life kind of went on around us, and yeah, could have used a little more space than just that. But yeah, I think the caravan that was, 6 feet long was probably the worst one.
Yeah.
Next category is hike.
I guess my favorite hike, I put down 2. One was Royce Peak in Wanaka. I really liked that one. It was just like you just hike up through fog and then up through I don't know how many meters of elevation. You get through the fog and it's just like pure sunshine on this beautiful mountain. And I was kind of bummed that we weren't able to finish it just because we had been doing hikes the previous days and we were just like really tired, so we didn't finish it. So I might do that again while I'm here. And then another one was Abel Tasman. Abel Tasman was really pretty. Would definitely recommend.
Yeah, I think there were lots. I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 written down here for my favorite hikes, but just to pick one, I think I liked the Rhino Walk in Aora, which is east of Christchurch. And we had a really sunny day, and we were listening to an Agatha Christie book, and we were walking around. It's fun. There's little metal sculptures of animals, including a crocodile. The first one was a crocodile right as you came around a corner into a little creek, and both Dagmar and me just about jumped out of our socks, even though
that was real.
There were no crocodiles in New Zealand, but we both freaked out. And yeah, that one was probably my favorite one. We had a really pretty, even though apparently there was a plague ship coming in. That was, we later figured out that the Ruby Princess, an ocean liner that came in with a whole bunch of coronavirus people, ended up being in the town that day, but... Yeah,
we actually have a picture with that in the background.
Little did we know, but we managed to avoid it, so we were all good. Yeah. Least favorite hike?
I put Pinnacles hike.
Yeah, I actually have that on there too.
It wasn't that it was, like, super bad, it was just that the road to it was... to get to the start was closed, so we had to walk an extra 9 kilometers to get to the start of the hike, and to walk back to our car, so that added an extra like hour and a half to 2 hours both days. And I think there was a moment where I thought I was gonna faint because I was just like low on blood sugar or something, and I was just like not having a stuff and had to carry my backpack for a while.
Brought some emergency chocolate to get her through it, but yeah, I think a theme of our North Island experience is we were just really, I mean, we got to see everything we wanted to, but we were really just like cramming it in, and I think the Pinnacles hike was a bit of a victim of that because we had a long drive to get there and a long drive when we left, and then plus there had been a slip because of bad weather, and so we had an extra 9 kilometers to hike both directions, and it just ended up being those 9 kilometers, plus it's a really steep hike, and you don't really see anything until you get to the very, very top. Yeah, it was a 2-day hike. I think we probably could have done without it, all things considered. Another least favorite hike that I had Pinnacles also, but another one I had, maybe disappointing, the Franz Josef Glacier. A lot of it was closed, so I don't know if I'm giving it a fair rap, but I'd always heard, how cool the glaciers were. And we couldn't really walk very far along it. It was kind of like a car park hike, like a walk more than it was a hike. Yeah. And this is global warming's fault, but the glacier had receded so far away from the path that you really couldn't see anything. So yeah, that was not my personal thick cup of tea. Next was our favorite and least favorite town. What did you have for town?
I put Dunedin and Twizel, and Dunedin was the town that I was in while Stefan was in the US, and I kind of traveled by myself, so I already had I was able to explore it a bit, and that was my first hitchhiking experience, and I had such a great time with it. And the Otago Peninsula is just really beautiful if you ever are able to go out there. You can see some sea lions, and there's the Albatross Center. Albatross are like the biggest flying birds. So I guess I didn't see any albatross, but that area is really pretty. And then Twizel was where we stayed at, but that's the area that you can explore Mount Cook and do all those really pretty hikes. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had Twizel down also. I mean, there's not a lot going on there. I wouldn't recommend anybody visit it, but it was a really nice base to go visit Mount Cook from. I mean, it was about an hour drive to Mount Cook, so it wasn't perfect, but it was just like really spacious, and I don't know, it was like pretty flat, so you could actually see, I don't know, around, and it just was a very quiet kind of, I mean, I want to say mountain town, but it's not in the mountains. It was just a really quiet town, and it was pretty.
The
Airbnb was really nice. Maybe that was a big thing about it. We didn't spend a huge amount of time there, but I thought New Plymouth and Christchurch were both cool also.
Yeah.
But insofar as like they weren't as population dense as other places. I mean, Christchurch was pretty deserted. I feel like I could maybe enjoy it more if there were more things going on, but I kind of liked that there wasn't a lot of traffic, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
Christchurch had the thing going for it that, I mean, there was an earthquake back in like 2015, and so a lot of residents had to move out. But Christchurch, I think, was like the biggest established city or is it?
Could be. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't remember. It was the first something.
It was the first something.
But it has, what I'm trying to say is that it has a lot of like museums and things to go out. Like there's a local eatery, and I don't know, the place, it seems really hip. There's just like a lot of restaurants and stuff that you can go out, and it's really cool architecture. There's just not a lot of people around, so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How about least favorite?
Greymouth.
Yeah, I had Greymouth also. Greymouth is just like, it's a town of 10,000. It's the biggest town on the west coast of the South Island, and there's just not a lot going on there. I mean, we had bad luck because we got there and the weather was miserable, and we couldn't find any Wi-Fi. We're staying in the caravan that had we didn't want to sit in there for long periods of time, and it was still level 2 of lockdown, so like cafes and libraries were all closed.
Yeah.
And we kind of went door to door trying to find any place for Wi-Fi. We thought we found a cafe. Was that where it was that we tried to get in the cafe? No, that was Wanaka, actually. Never mind, that was a different place. Disregard that story. But yeah, we were not able to find any Wi-Fi. Nothing really of note to see there. It was kind of
no heights,
dingy.
like there wasn't really anything great about it.
Yeah, so if you guys know anything about Greymouth, write in and you can let us know what we missed. How about food?
Food. I put fish and chips in Stewart Island.
Bing.
Those were so big and like so flavorful. You could tell it was like fresh fish, and we also got them after our 3-day Rakiura hike, and so we were just starving and ready for them, and yeah, they were amazing. And then the other one that I put was the eggplant bao in Auckland. That was, I don't know, it was like fried to perfection, and it was just, I don't know what sauce they had on there.
It was
but
really
it was
good
delicious.
sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had both of those as well, and we actually have videos on the blog of both of those, so hopefully you guys have seen them. I think the other thing is I got a real appreciation for pies. Here we had a lot of really good pies. They even have like vegetarian ones. We had good like chana masala ones, and like vegan mince and cheese, and there's like been mushroom and gravy. The gravy probably wasn't vegetarian, but pretty good stuff. There's a big variety, and you can just pick them up in gas stations. I mean, they're probably no healthier than getting like a gross gas station hot dog, but we don't know. We don't have, 30 years of gas station food is gross as far as pies are concerned, so they seem like a fun little thing. You pick them up and then you can eat them. They're warm, they're filling. And you had Stewart Island fish and chips. That was also my number one. Funnily, I was thinking about least favorite foods, and a lot of my least favorite foods were actually all fish and chips based. Like we had in Christchurch, we had some like vegetarian fish and chips that were done with,
I forgot about those. Yeah.
And those were really gross. They were delivered really cool. They came through like one of those old pipes that you would send mail through, and they would deliver your food that way. But they were pretty gross. I mean, it tasted, if anything, like chicken, which didn't really match the fish and chips. And we also just recently had some Hokianga flounder.
Yeah, I put that as my worst.
Yeah, and I don't think it was that it tasted bad, but it was cool because we walked into the fish and chips place, and they like they said like, which fish do you want? They took out the whole fish and fried it. But it ended up being such a hassle to eat around the whole skeleton and everything.
Because it was like a takeaway place, so they had the doors open, and it was really cold, so we went into our car to eat it, and it was just all over our laps. It was really messy and really greasy, so it was just a mess to eat. unfortunately.
The last thing that I put also was just like non-street food, like sit-down restaurants. I feel like we didn't eat at any, at least that came to mind, any sit-down restaurants that I thought were really good and decently priced. I felt like a lot of times we bought stuff that was a little expensive for the amount of food that we got. I think we were happiest with places where you kind of walked in and ordered at the counter and then either took it, or like cafe style places or takeaway places, more so than like sit down restaurants. But
there was that restaurant in Wellington that I wanted to go to. We did
not go there.
I forgot what it was called. It's super famous. Like Harry and Meghan supposedly ate there, but like it was like at least $100 per person for a 6-course meal or something, and we were just like,
too cheap for that.
Yeah.
We spend our money on pies and fish and chips.
Yeah.
The next category was a little bit weird, but it was like non-major / poster child attraction of New Zealand. So like if you come to New Zealand, people are all going to tell you like, go to Milford Sound, go to Hobbiton, go to the Te Papa Museum in Wellington, do the Tongariro crossing. But like, what were the things that we saw that might not be on your top 10 itinerary that we thought were really cool? What did you see?
I put Punakaki rocks, or I guess they call it pancake rocks. Those were on the northern west side of the South Island, and they have, I guess it's like you go onto a little beach area, and there's like these huge rock formations that have like, it's made out of like little pancake rocks, just flat rocks all over, and then you walk around and there's these huge blowholes. It's a funny word, but like, it's just like, I don't know what the cause is, but like water shoots out from these rocks, and like, it's so beautiful because the day that we were there, it was super sunny, we had beautiful weather, and so that water formed rainbows that we could see, and it was just like, I would definitely recommend if you're going to that West Coast area and you have time. And then the other one I had was the hot water beach in Coromandel, which I think that one might not be as secretive, but
it's not on like your top 10. Like if people say come to New Zealand, but it's an incredible experience. Like you can dig in the sand and there's hot water and you're right next to the ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, the ocean's cold, but then the water that comes up through the sand is hot, and you can dig yourself a little hot tub and sit on a beach that's in and of itself like a beautiful beach
like a
also.
Hot tub, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really cool experience.
And then the other thing I had, which, I mean, it's not like a natural thing, but it was the Christchurch building, or sorry, the Christchurch library. It was really cool. Stefan didn't get to see it, but that one, if you ever go to Christchurch, make sure you go to the public library because they did an amazing job with that. It's like 4 levels, and there's like, I don't know, there's a little cafe downstairs, and there's like a huge like interactive area of the whole Christchurch city, and you go on each level, and there's like a children's section on the 2nd floor, and there's like also a huge screen that you can play like Just Dance or whatever with your kids. So it was a really cool library.
I think for my favorites, I had the Punakaiki rocks also. I think that was our favorite thing we saw on the West Coast, other than maybe that little lake that like had the nice reflection of Mount Tasman and Mount Cook. But I think for me, we just got back from Northland, and I thought Northland was really cool. That's the area on the peninsula above Auckland, and we had to do a super fast road trip. We'll publish a blog post about it later. But there was, I mean, I feel like it would be a great way for somebody to fly into Auckland and do like a little trip right around there and see kind of what New Zealand's all about. Like beaches, dramatic cliffs, it was super green, it was very rural, so, not like very much civilization. And then the coolest things that we saw were, the lighthouse all the way at the northern tip of New Zealand, and then these super cool, like 150 meter high sand dunes that we did boogie boarding down. So I thought that was really cool. I think there's also like, there's the Bay of Islands, which has like world top 10 diving spots. We didn't go in wintertime. And I guess the other 2 things that I wanted to put down there is the Otago Peninsula is really cool. You talked about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. We stayed out there. I think that would be a great place to just kind of, there's tons of fun walks, We did like a pyramids walk, which I think we had a video about.
Oh yeah, there's tons of walks in the Dunedin Otago Peninsula area that, I mean, every like 15 minutes you go every way and you just see these beautiful green hills with like sheep on them and the oceans right there. So yeah.
And a lot of it, I mean, for better or worse, I guess, is not covered in rainforest. And that was one thing that we noticed as we were doing a lot of hikes throughout New Zealand is so many of the hikes are through rainforest until you get to some sort of viewing platform. And so they kind of start to blend together a little bit. But the ones we did on the Otago Peninsula, I guess, probably bad because they've all been chopped down. But, I mean, it is like greener and you can see out to the ocean the whole time. So that was a great place to spend. We spent like 2 weeks there just picking different hikes and that sort of thing. And then the last place, I thought New Plymouth was really cool. I think most travel guides I read say like go from like Taupo straight down to Wellington and just kind of breeze past everything on the west and east coast. But New Plymouth was like a cool little town. It had a really nice boardwalk that we took a bike ride down, like a 45-minute bike ride.
Yeah.
And they also had a really neat museum just about like the history of New Plymouth and, you know, the geological background. There's a really cool, Mount Taranaki is like a big central focal point that's kind of in the background of all your pictures and everything. Mm-hmm. And so I would have maybe liked to spend some more time there. I thought that was a cool area as well. How about least favorite non-major attractions?
Well, I couldn't really think of anything. So I guess I put Franz Josef, which you put as a least favorite hike. I mean, there was nothing special about it, but I do think that's more of a major, people say that you should definitely go to Franz Josef, but I didn't find it that great.
Yeah, in our opinion, I think the West Coast, you could, I mean, if you're on limited time, you could probably skip. It's really hard to get over there, and once you get there...
Yeah, just do Mount Cook. I would definitely recommend, but other than that...
For what it's worth, there was a hike at Franz Josef that we considered doing that was like 7 hours long and got you above the glaciers, and there's all the helicopter rides that go down the glaciers, and so maybe if we had chosen either of those, we would have a higher opinion of it. Yeah. But just driving there and seeing the glacier and then driving on, like, it was a long way to go for not a whole lot. I think my least favorite non-major attractions, I mean, we talked about the Pinnacles hike, which to me was a little bit disappointing, but again, it was because we had to hike almost an extra 20 Ks on it. Mm-hmm. We did a trip to Rangitoto off the coast of Auckland, which we did a video about, and it was cool, but like...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, yeah.
You had to like pay for a ferry ride. I mean, it's cool that you can go from downtown Auckland to like a completely wild area, but you have to pay for a ferry ride, and then, I mean, the view was good, but...
the hike itself, I think it was like a 2-hour round hike, and... I mean, unlike the other areas that we went to, it was pretty populated because it was right next to Auckland. And it honestly wasn't that pretty. I think maybe because it was full of lava rocks. And then when you get up, you get to see like the Auckland skyline and everything. But
I would, for that, I would go to like One Tree Hill or one of those other, there's like a bunch of hills inside Auckland itself that you can walk up, and it's not as much of an effort. And honestly, another disappointment of Rangitoto is you can never... Like, it's a volcano that's coming out of the water, but you don't really, at any point when you're on the island, get a good opportunity to, like, take a nice photo of that. I know it's not all about the photos, but you can almost enjoy the views of Rangitoto better from the mainland than... and then the last thing, in terms of non-major trek, maybe this is just my personal care. We saw a lot of waterfalls while we were hiking, and I felt like none of the waterfalls I thought were super spectacular. Maybe I'm just not a waterfall person, but I know one waterfall after another we stopped at, and we were like, all right, whatever, let's go on.
Yeah.
So yeah, but maybe that's just a matter of personal taste. We're going to do a sort of unboxing video of our own bags. So, yeah, we arrived in New Zealand, and the initial plan was maybe we were going to get like a long-term apartment someplace. And if you guys have been following the blog, that did not happen. We've been traveling around a lot. And we noticed pretty quickly that we had way too much junk with us. And we were very fortunate because our lovely hosts at HelpX number 3, which you can read and watch more about here, they volunteered to take our stuff, some of our stuff, while we were traveling around. And we just met with them this afternoon, had a great little reunion. They filled us in on what they'd been doing, and we talked to them about what we've been doing, but they gave us all of our garbage back. So our plan today is to go through all of our stuff that we haven't seen for 7 months and see, this is like Christmas morning because we've been wearing the same clothes over and over and we honestly don't really remember what we left with them.
I'm sure you've seen this shirt quite a few times on all of our videos and photos. So yeah, I'm sure you're sick of seeing this too. So let's open it up and see what we got. It's like Christmas morning.
Exactly. Hand sanitizer.
Yay.
Little did I know how useful this was going to be.
There's all my pins that I really needed. There's a Band-Aid. Some coins.
This token is good for 1 free coffee beverage at any of our locations. We basically wore long sleeves and long pants the entire time we were in New Zealand. I don't even know if I wore my shorts ever. So this is a bad choice to bring to New Zealand.
One of my big clothing bags. A t-shirt. Oh, I can use another t-shirt.
Look how clean and unused it looks.
Yeah!
A little v-neck shirt. I thought we were going to be dressing up. We just wore the same sweatshirt every single day, everywhere we went, no matter what.
I didn't have enough swimsuits, so I brought another one because I did not get in the water.
I don't think we got in the water anywhere we went. Other than the hot pool here, another pair of shorts. Don't bring shorts to New Zealand, I guess maybe if you come here in the summer, but...
Or if you're a lot stronger than us. Another one of my big clothing packs. There's my wetsuit, and some sweaters, and my hairbrush, a curling iron. And I'm so excited. I was so excited to see a curling iron commercial on the TV the other day.
Would you have brought the curling iron with you in our reduced baggage?
No. Some green pants that I think I wore once. There's my tennis racket. Oh, look at this! Another clothing bag! Holy cow, I can't believe I brought all these clothes. There's another swimsuit top. Why did I bring so much stuff?
An athletic sweater. Maybe I could have used this, but I think I had enough sweaters. So 2 sweaters was probably fine. Could have used another couple long sleeve shirts. But that's it for this backpack.
You have a lot less crap than I do.